Okay, so sorting out the sprouts for Christmas. No one else here, on my own, prepping dinner. I wanted to share some like crazy things that God has done over the past year for me. So when I woke this morning, these things started flooding into my head about what. Oh, hold on. Put a sausage roll on for the dog. It's out of date, so rather than throw it in the bin, I thought I would heat it up for her and she can have it as a Christmas treat. So, woke up this morning and I started remembering loads of stuff that had happened throughout the year what God has done for me, like as in blessings. And there's a lot of things I've shared on this channel of blessings and things that God made me do and how He put me right, and I didn't realise, like as I was doing them, like it was such a God thing. So a couple of these things came to my mind. It was maybe definitely two, maybe three. I'll come back to me in a minute. But the first one I thought of was like these are international things. Yeah, there's three. These are international things. This isn't just like a neighbour coming up and saying, God told me to say this or give you this or whatever, okay? There was one time I went to church an evening. This American preacher was coming the whole way from, where was he from? Boston? Texas maybe? I don't know. He was from the other side of the world, okay? And I remember this time I was very broken, I was still searching. All I knew was to like keep my eyes focused on God and go to church, because this is how I was going through my healing and how God was speaking to me through His word, through what was being taught in church. And this man came, and he's called Andrew Willis. This man, Andrew Willis, and he comes to our church often. He must come every year, every other year. He's an evangelist. He goes about different countries, and he would go into another church in Belfast as well, but he would always come to the church that I had started going to. And everybody was like, oh, you know, he's crazy, and he plays the trumpet and he can sing, and he would evangelise through scriptures, and like this man's got a lot of gifts, like crazy gifts, and everybody would like not roll their eyes, but they'd be like, oh yeah, he comes all the time and like he's crazy and he's loud and he'll do this and that, and what do you see? And I was like, oh right, okay. But in my mind I was like, I'm going to go and see what God's going to say to me through this man. So I went, and I usually sit like quite near the front because I get very distracted, so I find it easier to concentrate on the front. I've done that everywhere I've went, even in lecture halls I sit at the front because I'm a nerd and I get really easily distracted, and I know when I need to focus on something I need to sit at the front, and I usually do. But in this time the place was sort of filled and there was no sort of spaces at the back, and I had come in a bit late from work and stuff, and I snuck in to the back, and I was in my scrubs, like I wasn't even changed, but I just had this real pull to go this evening, and off I went and sat at the back, and this man started talking, and he started using scripture through, it's in the Old Testament, and you know I love the Old Testament. Where was it? It was God's instructions to start to circumcise the people of Israel. So it must have been in Exodus or Leviticus. No, it wasn't Leviticus. Anyway, it was somewhere, and it was talking about the Israelites coming out of Egypt, and God given the instructions for circumcision, as in to be circumcised unto God, and this is how you would know you were His people and all this sort of stuff. That was fine. And he kept talking about the knife, the sharp knife that they would use to carry out the circumcision, and about how sharp it would be, and because obviously you know, they were taking this to their flesh. And I was like, this is a bit morbid. I was like, I don't really, like, I'm a nurse, those things like that don't bother me, but I'm like, where is he going with this? Where is he going? Like, this one scripture, it's like, this doesn't make sense to me. Until it made sense. And he started talking about how God, he says, there's someone in this room, and it's how God is sharpening you like a knife. He said, it's this knife. This knife is so sharp, it will cut through flesh. Sorry. Wait till it finishes its singing. Here we go. It will cut through flesh like dead easy. And he started describing about how these knives get so sharp, and it's about how, like, so this is perfect example. So this is like a knife sharpener and a knife, and how you take it through this device, and basically on the other side, and you can actually see it here where I've sharpened the knife, and when you go through you get a burr, I think it's called a burr, a bit of metal, basically like a bit of metal that has come off the knife, you know, that's been sort of rejected, but it's made the knife so sharp. And he said, this is what you're going through in your life. It's it feels uncomfortable. You're being put through that, and the burr's coming off, and it's all burning off, all the bit of metal that's no use, it's not sharp anymore. It's coming off, and you're getting, the Holy Spirit is sharpening you so sharp that whenever you speak, it will cut through. It will cut through words, and it will cut through like a really sharp knife. And I'm listening to this, and I'm like, he's talking to me. Like, I knew in my spirit that he was talking to me. And he says, and I don't know why, but I believe God has sent me here for one person and one person only. And you will know when I'm speaking to you that God's saying this about you, about your life. And he has sent me, I think he said 5,000 miles. I don't know how far it is from America to Chicago. He's from Chicago, because he always says Chicago. So he come from there and the whole way to Northern Ireland to speak to this one person. And right there and then I realised that's how much God loved me. That he would send someone from the other side of the world on a flight to come to my church where I was attending and speak to me, that so that God could speak to me and understand that it doesn't matter where I am or where that other person is. When they have a word and they need to bring it to someone, that he will make them come. And I remember going home, and I was like, that was for me, like, that was for me. I was so overwhelmed. I knew it was for me. And God done loads of stuff like that. So I was like, what the heck? Like, and then of course the devil comes to lie, and then he'll say, oh, you've imagined that wasn't for you. But I knew it was. I so knew it was. Yeah, so I knew for sure that God was speaking to me loud and clear. And it helped me understand the process I was going through in my life, and why things had happened, and why God needed to separate me from the situation that I was in. And because he needed my undivided attention. So now we're pigs and blankets. Because I kept asking God, why has this happened to me, and why am I on my own, and why am I going through this? Why are you allowing me to go through this? All the questions that anybody that was in the same situation would have. And then God started to show me that he had a calling on my life. And there was something that he needed me to do for him. I'm just watching my dog eating her sausage roll, and the cat has come to help her eat it as well. Merry Christmas, guys. So although it was really painful, although I did not really want to be in that situation, I could understand that God was doing something new in my life that I had never experienced before, and I started to hear him so clearly. And hence the reason why I do this channel is because I don't always feel comfortable doing this, but I believe this is a God thing, and I'm just going to do what I'm told. I don't really know where he's going to take it or what he's going to do with it, just trust him and to share these things with you guys, to encourage anybody else that's going through just hard times and you don't know why. You're like, why are we here, Lord? But there's a purpose for it. And that he sends even people halfway across the world just to speak that to you. Couldn't believe it. I was like in shell shock for days after that, and I was like, how good is God? You know, like to send someone from the other side of the world to come here and tell me all that. So then the second instance was, there is a girl on YouTube, a woman on YouTube. She's American again. Her name is Kirsty Elridge, and I remember listening to her like prophetic words on YouTube, and I was praying, you know, Lord, I don't want to be listening to people that like are not godly. I don't want to be led astray by like having words filled in my ears. Like I was so very careful about what I would listen to, and I would like, Lord, I only want to hear, like I believe you're speaking to me, but I only want to hear your truth for my life. I don't want my head filled with nonsense, okay? I don't want to be hoping on a whim that what these people are saying is going to happen to me. But I'm very closely testing the spirit. She's spoke only biblical stuff, everything that I had been taught and I believed. And you know, I really listened to her. A lot of the stuff that she was speaking was really accurate in my life. And I remember listening to her one day. It must have been a Saturday or a Sunday or something, because I remember being through the drive-through McDonald's where I live, and I usually only go there at the weekends, and not often, mind you, it's not good for you, I'll just say that. I like their coffees, and I remember listening to what she was saying. I was like, Lord, I believe she's sent by you. I believe that she prophesies through the Holy Spirit, and she's speaking into my life. And I was like, would you send her here? Would you send her here to Northern Ireland? Like, she keeps travelling about America. What about me? What about us? And today, no joke, today I was on my YouTube and she pops up and she has announced that she is coming to Belfast. And I've never signed up to something so quick in all my life. And it was just like God saying, Emma, you keep asking for stuff and I keep giving, but you keep doubting. Just wait on what I promised you. And all these other things like are falling into place. Everything that God has promised me is falling into place in front of my eyes. And I don't know why I doubt so much. And God's still speaking. He's still saying, Emma, I do everything that you ask me. In a humble heart, I will prove to you that I will do this. And he's so faithful and so kind. He doesn't have to. And she's coming here. And I've no doubt in my mind that she's coming here for me. Not just me, but she's coming here because God's told her to, because I asked him. Internationally, she's coming from America. For whatever that God needs her to tell me or speak, that he's proven himself time and time again. Because he's good. He's always good. And that's going to be in January. And it's a free event. So I don't have to worry about paying for it or anything. The costs are covered. God has covered the cost already. And then the last thing that God has done for me, this is all international stuff. This is international. This is crazy. I couldn't write this if I tried. And I've been praying to God about releasing me out of some financial I suppose debts, really, strongholds in my life that I'd got into that I couldn't see any way out, and I knew it was only going to be a God thing. And God kept me in that. It was to do with my car, and it was really expensive, and I was paying it, but it it was a poor use of my money. Like, it was stopping me from affording things like for my children and stuff like that. And I had got into that contract, in a period of my life that was full of pride. And I had the check on my spirit the day I signed for it, and I knew I shouldn't have. But I listened to him now. I've learned from those things. And I've been praying all year. And then I understood that God was keeping me in that situation for a while longer to teach me how to steward my money. And by not listening to him, I would get myself into these circumstances. Now, it's not judgment or bullying or anything like that. I just think God was teaching me a really good lesson, and this is the way He chose to do it. So I kept the big fancy car, and I drove it for a year, and I was affording it just about. Like, it wasn't, I didn't feel comfortable, put it that way. I wasn't comfortable to be paying out this amount of money. But I understood God was keeping me there for a reason, for a time and a season. And I remember, like, a couple of weeks ago, I said to God, like, I can't do this anymore. I am done. I am so sick of being financially, like, I feel like I'm struggling all the time. Even though God had sent money to me exactly when I needed it, I never missed a bill. So if I had just maybe kept my mouth shut, God probably would have let me keep the car if that's what I wanted. But I wanted out of this. I wanted out of this debt. I didn't want to be paying this money. This foolishness, this absolute foolishness. And God released me from that. And this is so funny. And I had forgot all about it, really, like about the prayers of discontentment. Like, Lord, I feel like I can't go through another season of this. Like, release me from it. I know what you're saying to me. Like, the blessings are coming, and just release me from it, please. Like, I think the time's right now. So that was okay. Bear with me a second. Just washing my hands. God allowed me to pay that for a year. Like, the uncomfortable part was for a year, but I had it like a year and a half in total, after everything happened in my life. And I was paying it, and I got support and stuff from other people to pay the bill, and that was great. So I knew the time was coming, and I actually had forgot about it. Like, this is the thing about God. Like, he's like, boom. He's like, now, but you weren't expecting it. And my son came round and he said to me, why have you still got that car, Mum? And I was like, listen, I've just accepted the Lord wants me in this situation for now. Even though I had asked him to free me from it, like, literally a week before. And he was like, you just need to get rid of that. He kept going on and on at me. So his girlfriend was wanting to change her car, and he had gone up to a car dealer's local to us. And this is where he met this man, Chris, who sells the cars. And let me just check my fire. Hold on 1 second. We're all good. Okay, so he met this guy, and his girlfriend didn't buy a car off him. And my son was saying to me, okay, why don't you just go up to Chris? Go up to this guy, Mum. And I was like, Daniel, really, listen, I haven't got the energy to do all this right now. I know what you're saying. I know I need to get rid of the car because of the payment, but I just think it is the right time. And then I think he said to me, yeah, so that he was like, right, fine. And it must have been a couple of days later, and he texted me, and he was like, Mum, will you just come up to the car dealership, and will you just speak to him, just say, Mum, I'll go with you. What about this Saturday? I'll go with you. And he really tried to put pressure on me. I felt like, not in a bad way, I just was like, he keeps going on about this. And God brought back to my remembrance, my pastor had gone round to his house, and he'd give me this wee calling card, because I was saying to him about the car, And he says, well, if you've any bother, go up to this man, Chris. And he gave me the calling card of his car showroom. And I was like, Lord, what's going on here? I was like, Daniel keeps putting me under pressure about going up to this man. And I've just remembered Pastor George has given me the calling card for the same man. Are you telling me to go up there? And I prayed about it, and I was like, Lord, just like give me confirmation, because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I am in this finance agreement with this car, or like if I'm able to get out of it or anything, if enough time has gone by. Is this the time? Is this the time? Is this the time? So it's fine. I opened my YouTube, and it was the harvest is ready. Go get it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I phones my son, still in a slightly like doubting phase, and I phones my son and I says, Daniel, I think the Lord is telling me it's time to go and sort this car out. Will you come with me on Saturday? So he was like, yep, happy days. So up we went, and I said to Chris, and he was like, yep, no problem, Emma, we can sort this out. And what all you need to figure out is what type of car do you want. And he kept saying this, but what type of car do you want? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, but you need to know what you want. And I think about that now, and I'm like, God would have allowed me to pick any of those cars sitting there. It wouldn't have been wrong. Because they weren't expensive. Like anything was going to be cheaper than the car that I was in. It was a big Mercedes GLE. It was beautiful, bought in pride, and God didn't strip me of it in the beginning, but he let me have it. He let me go through that period of time, and then I felt ready to give it up. It wasn't like he stripped me away of everything all at once. And I was like, yeah, this needs to go. And just I had to release and let it go. It was a beautiful car, and then I was like, I don't know what car I want. And I remember standing there, and I was like, Lord, okay, right, so we're moving, like we're moving, and we're getting a new car. Okay, I accept that. I know what you're saying. So I haven't a clue what car is right. Can you pick one for me? And at that, Chris says, what about that car? And he brought this car up on his phone. And he says, I'm having that imported from Japan, Emma. He said, that would be a good car for you. He says, it's a bit older, but she's immaculate, not a bit of rust, engine's brilliant, low mileage, and cheap to run, cheaper to insure. Tax is a wee bit, maybe a wee couple of pound dearer than the one you're in, but sure, you're going to save loads of money. And I looked at it and I went, yeah. And he's like, I'm going to collect that today. He says, I'll have that up here today. It's coming off the boat in Belfast. And I'm going to get it now, and sure, you can have it tomorrow. And I went, okay. So I got everything processed. And God brought me a car from Japan. I don't know. I don't even know where Kirsty's from, because I would probably imagine that Kirsty is from the opposite side of America to that other man, Andrew Willis. And God brought me a car from Japan. Work that out. And actually, it's been a wee bit of a tricky situation to get it insured, because it wasn't registered in the UK just yet. And I went there this evening to tax it, and the guy was like, what sort of MOT is this? And I was like, oh, that's been MOT'd when it came off the boat in England. And that's an MOT certificate. It's not the same as we have here in Northern Ireland, because they like to rob us blind. And we had to go to MOT centres and things like that. It's probably cheaper to get them done in England, and quicker, because a mechanic can do it. So it was MOT before it got to me, and all I had to do really was to tax it. And I remember I was standing at the post office, and I was like, oh, please don't give me any bother here. And I remember I'm just standing there this evening, I'm like, Lord, I can't be bothered with this. Really, like, I don't want this to be an issue. Can we just get the car taxed, because I've been driving it and it needs taxed. and I know you give me it. And I just stood there with my hands in my pockets. I did no fear, no fear. I was like, this will work out. I don't know what your man behind the till's thinking there, but this is happening. And he went, whatever, here you go, what's your details? And he put it in and taxed it for the year. And I was like, happy days. And I just walked out with the paperwork. And I received the paperwork today for it, so I could actually tax it. And I received the money today to be able to sort all my bills and stuff out. And God's been telling me for a long time that he's going to bless me like a double portion, and I just never really accepted it. It was in the back of my mind, and I was like, Lord, like, who are we to ask anything more of you for the blessings that you've done in my life so far? I should really write a book. I don't know who would want to read it, but it's unbelievable, to be fair. And I never wanted to accept that God wanted to do more and more and more in my life, like bless me. The more obedient you are, like the more blessed, the more favour that you have. And I started hearing these words about money coming my way, and I had a lot of bills, a lot of like financial debt and things like that. I've never really spoke about that, but I know people are in those situations, and you'll be asking the questions, well, does God allow me to get out of my debt? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And I'll speak more about that actually in another video, because it's getting quite long. And I'll speak about that. I will do one on like financial debt that I've been in and how God freed me. But yeah, that's how God has sent two people from the other side of the world, because he had messages he needed me to hear. They're obedient vessels. I prayed for God to send Kirsty, and I actually can't believe that she's coming in January. Like, I don't even have to wait. She's coming in January. And God sent me a card from Japan, of all places. I don't ask him any questions anymore. I'm like, okay, is that what we're doing? I haven't got a clue. I just think God has been training me for the past year to trust him more, but we don't understand him fully. I think we'll never understand him fully. And it's nearly like, Emma, nothing is impossible with me. I get you a car from Timbuktu if I have to. And that's how God's blessed me this year. So I hope you're encouraged by that. And if he's gonna do it for me, he's gonna do it for you. Just be obedient, be humble. And maybe you could ask for more than what I did, because I was just like, Lord, whatever I'll do. Maybe you should ask for more. I don't know, like in a humble heart. But God's blessed me, even though I don't think I've asked for loads and loads and loads, but God has blessed me so much, and there's more coming. I know there's more coming. So, you might get you a car from Japan. Yeah, that just blew my mind. So, God's funny. God's really funny. I think he's hilarious. So, yeah, just ask and receive. Receive not because you ask not. Ask him, see what he does for you. And it'll just appear out of nowhere, and you'll be shocked. Yeah. I dare you.